The Imperial Stellar Sanctuary was one of the most peaceful places in the entire Celestian Empire. It was built like a floating garden inside space, with long glass walls that showed the stars, quiet halls filled with glowing trees, and soft pathways that curved like rivers of silver light. But on this day, the sanctuary was anything but peaceful. Every worker inside moved quickly. Every guard looked nervous. Every trainer stood stiff and silent, afraid to speak too loudly. Because today, the Emperor's most special creature, Orcs, had shut down again. Orcs was no normal creature. It was a rare biomechanical dragon, built with living tissue and gentle machines woven together so perfectly that no one could tell where one ended and the other began. Its scales looked like soft crystal, its wings folded like sheets of warm metal, and its eyes glowed with colors that changed depending on its feelings. Orcs had once been the pride of the Empire. It had flown at peace celebrations, visited many planets, and helped calm frightened children during long voyages. It was friendly, calm, and loyal. Every diplomat who saw Orcs believed the Empire cared deeply about harmony. But everything changed after a mission 2 years ago. No one fully understood what had happened. Orcs returned from that mission, trembling, confused, and unresponsive. Its sensors flickered, its wings dragged the ground, and it refused to connect with any trainer who tried to help. Something deep inside it had been damaged, something emotional, not physical. Technicians fixed its outer parts, but they could not fix its fear. Now Orcs lived inside a quiet chamber at the sanctuary where only trained handlers were allowed. Dozens of experts from across the galaxy had tried to reach the dragon. None had succeeded. And the worst part was this: no trainer lasted more than 1 hour with Orcs before the dragon shut down completely. Not because Orcs was dangerous, it never attacked anyone, but because it retreated so deeply into silence that all its lights turned dim blue. Its body curled up, and it became still as a statue. The moment it shut down, the session ended. Every failure brought more worry. Every failure made people whisper that Orcs was broken. Today, another trainer had just failed. A soft alarm rang inside the observation room. A glowing screen changed from yellow to blue, signaling Orcs's shutdown. The trainer walked out slowly with his head down. 53 minutes, announced the sanctuary supervisor. Another new record, but still under 1 hour. The Emperor himself was watching from a quiet balcony above. He was a calm man, but clearly troubled. Orcs had meant a great deal to him, almost like a symbol of hope for the Empire's future. Seeing it curled up like a frightened creature tore at him more than he ever admitted. He turned to the supervisor. "Is anyone left on the list?" "One applicant remains, Your Majesty," the supervisor said. "A man who arrived this morning." The Emperor nodded. "Bring him." "Bring him." Marcus Hale waited in the lobby with his hands resting on his knees. He was not dressed like the other trainers. Most of them wore shining suits with bright badges and holographic tools. Marcus wore a simple dark jacket, patched in 2 places, and boots that had seen many long days of work. His hair was slightly messy, and he carried a small, worn notebook in his pocket. He looked more like a tired father coming from work than someone applying to handle a royal creature. And that was exactly who he was, a tired father. Marcus was a veteran of old rescue missions. He once worked in dangerous zones bringing lost people home. But when his wife passed away, he left that life behind to take care of their young daughter, Lily. He promised himself he would raise her with calmness and patience. For years he had worked simple jobs on many planets, anything that let him be there for Lily. But now Lily was growing, and the bills were growing too. Then he heard that the sanctuary needed a patient handler for a sensitive creature. He did not come because he wanted glory. He came because he needed work that paid enough to support his daughter's life and education. He also came because he had a soft spot for creatures who were frightened and lost. He had helped many before, small ones, large ones, some with wings, some with fur, some who had been hurt, and some who were simply misunderstood. When the supervisor approached him, Marcus stood. "Marcus Hale?" the supervisor asked. "Yes, sir. This way, please." As they walked through the long hallways, Marcus noticed how quiet the sanctuary was. He also noticed the worried expressions on the workers' faces. He understood that kind of stress well, people who cared deeply but could not fix something they valued. Finally, they arrived at Oryx's chamber. A wide, dome-shaped room with soft lights and a floor like polished stone. The walls showed gentle images of forests and rivers to create a calming environment. In the center of the room, curled up tightly, was Oryx. Even Marcus paused for a moment. Oryx was beautiful in a sad way. Its scales shimmered faintly, like sunlight passing through water. Its wings wrapped around its body like a shield. Its long tail lay flat on the ground. Its eyes were half open but dull, glowing a faint, pale blue, the color of fear. "Remember," the supervisor whispered, "no one has lasted an hour." Marcus nodded. He did not boast or pretend he knew the secret. He simply walked toward the dragon with slow, steady steps. As the doors closed behind him, the room became silent, except for a soft hum from Oryx's core. Marcus stopped a few feet away and sat down cross-legged on the floor. He did not rush. He did not reach out. He did not try to impress. He simply breathed evenly and let the space calm around him. Oryx did not move. The dragon's sensors scanned Marcus quietly. The creature detected no threat, no demand, and no impatience. Only a steady, warm presence. Marcus spoke gently. "Hello, Oryx. My name is Marcus. I'm not here to push you. I'm just here to sit with you, if that's all right." Oryx's head shifted slightly. Its eyes flickered from pale blue to a slightly stronger shade. It did not open its wings, but it did lift its head a little, enough to see Marcus more clearly. Most trainers before had stood tall, trying to project control and expertise. Marcus did the opposite. He stayed low and calm, showing no pressure at all. Instead of giving commands, he shared simple stories in a quiet voice. Stories about Lily learning to ride her hoverboard, about burning breakfast by accident, about trying to help her sew a school project, and accidentally sewing his sleeve to the tablecloth. He did not talk about war. He did not talk about fear. He talked about gentle, ordinary moments, moments that made life soft and real. Oryx listened. Machines inside the dragon measured emotional tone. They read heartbeats, breathing patterns, and voice rhythms. All the readings from Marcus showed peace. No tension, no frustration, no hidden aim, only calm honesty. For the first time in many months, Oryx's wings loosened a little. Marcus smiled softly. "Thank you," he said. "You didn't have to do that." In the observation room above, workers gasped. "Did you see that?" He lifted his wings. "The sensors are turning green." The Emperor leaned closer. His eyes softened. "Keep watching." Back inside the chamber, Marcus continued talking. "You've been through something difficult," he whispered. "I don't know what it was, but I know what fear feels like. I know what it's like to lose trust. You don't have to rush. I'm not going anywhere." Oryx slowly uncurled its tail. Its eyes brightened. Little sparks of gold shimmered near its cheeks, a sign of curiosity. Marcus lowered his head in respect. "It's all right if you just want company," he said. "I'm good at silence too." Minutes passed. 10, 15, 20. Oryx lifted its head completely now, watching Marcus with gentle interest. It took a slow step forward, just one. But it was more than anyone else had achieved in 2 years. In the observation room, the Emperor stood. "It's working," he whispered. Back in the chamber, Marcus spoke again, softly. "When my daughter was little, she was scared of storms. I used to sit with her just like this. Quiet, patient. And after some time, she understood she wasn't alone." Oryx blinked, and a faint warm color swept across its body. It was the color of comfort. For the first time, the dragon made a small sound, soft and low, a gentle hum that echoed like a deep breath. Marcus smiled. "There you are." Oryx moved closer and lowered its head beside Marcus. Not touching him, but close enough that Marcus could feel the warm air from its core systems. It trusted him at least a little. And for Oryx, that little bit was a huge step. By the time the chamber doors opened again, Marcus had stayed with Oryx for more than an hour. without the dragon shutting down. The staff stared in disbelief. The Emperor stepped forward slowly, his voice filled with hope. "He lasted an hour," a guard whispered. "No," the technician corrected. "He lasted more than an hour. And Oryx is still awake." Marcus stood up gently, patting the floor once. "Thank you, Oryx," he said, "for letting me stay." Oryx watched him leave, its eyes glowing with soft gold. For the first time in years, the Emperor smiled with true relief, because Oryx the dragon believed to be broken had finally allowed someone in, and that someone was a quiet veteran single dad who had simply offered patience. The next morning, at the Imperial Stellar Sanctuary, felt different. The halls were still quiet. The silver trees still glowed softly, and the star windows still stretched across the ceilings like shining bridges. But something had changed in the air. Workers walked with lighter steps. Technicians whispered with hopeful voices. Guards no longer looked tense, because Oryx, the Emperor's biomechanical dragon, had stayed awake after a training session for the first time in years, and everyone knew why. Marcus Hale, the quiet veteran single dad, had reached the creature in a way no expert had managed. Marcus arrived early, holding a small lunchbox and a folded paper drawing created by his daughter Lily. The drawing showed a smiling dragon and a man with a simple caption written in messy child handwriting. "For Daddy and the Dragon." Marcus kept it tucked safely inside his jacket. He was not used to attention. But now every worker he passed looked at him like he had just saved the galaxy. He gave polite nods and warm smiles, but inside he felt humble. He did not think he had done anything amazing. He had only sat with Oryx. He had only been patient. When the supervisor met him at the chamber entrance, he sighed with relief. "Marcus, you really did something incredible yesterday," the supervisor said. "Oryx stayed active for hours after you left. The Emperor himself asked for your return today." Marcus rubbed his neck shyly. "I'm glad Oryx felt safe. I'll do my best again." The supervisor smiled. "That's all anyone can ask." Inside Oryx's chamber, the atmosphere was calmer than yesterday. The dragon was lying on its side, wings relaxed, eyes half closed in a soft golden glow. When Marcus stepped inside, the creature slowly lifted its head, not in fear, but in recognition. Oryx made a low humming sound, gentle and warm, like greeting an old friend. Marcus smiled. "Good morning, Oryx. I hope you slept better than I did." He sat down in the same spot as before. Oryx shifted slightly closer, its tail curling to one side like a curious cat. Marcus spoke with the same soft tone he always used when comforting someone. "Yesterday was a good start," he said. "If you're tired, we can go slow. Sometimes a small step is bigger than a giant leap." Oryx blinked once, as if agreeing. Technicians watching from the control booth whispered excitedly. He responded immediately. His energy levels rose the moment Marcus entered. It's like he remembers him. Oryx moved one of its wings, making a soft metallic rustle. Marcus noticed something then: thin lines across the inner wing. Like old scratches. They were faint, but visible when the light hit just right. He didn't touch them, but he glanced at them with gentle concern. "I see you've been through something," Marcus said. "Those marks, they must be from the mission they told me about." Oryx looked down at its own wing, then at Marcus, then slowly lowered the wing again. The motion was small, but the emotion behind it was clear. It was hiding something painful. Marcus nodded. "It's all right. You don't have to show me if you're not ready." "Where?" "Takes." Oryx looked back at him with a soft golden hue, a silent thank you. Marcus talked about simple things again. About making breakfast for Lily, about trying to braid her hair for school, and ending up creating a confusing knot she found very funny. Oryx listened quietly, his sensors tracking Marcus's calm breath and steady tone. But today, Marcus added something new, a story he had never shared before. "When I worked in rescue," he began softly, "I once helped a small creature who was trapped under a collapsed ship. It was shaking so much from fear that it could not move. I told it I wasn't going to rush. I stayed beside it until it believed my voice." Oryx tilted his head, curious. It took time, Marcus continued. Fear doesn't leave quickly. But little by little, that creature trusted me. It walked out on its own. He looked into Oryx's soft, glowing eyes and smiled. You remind me of that creature. Not because you're weak, far from it, but because you were left alone with your fear for too long. No one should go through that alone. Oryx made a faint sound. A soft vibration that warmed the space. The dragon gently lowered its head until it rested on the ground near Marcus's legs. Not touching him, just close enough to feel comfort. Above, the Emperor watched quietly. His hands were clasped behind his back, his expression unreadable. But his eyes held hope. After about 30 minutes, Oryx shifted again, this time stretching its mechanical muscles. Its wings unfolded halfway, revealing more of the thin old marks across the inner surfaces. They looked like they came from something sharp, something unnatural. Marcus noticed Oryx's posture stiffen slightly as if the dragon feared his reaction. Marcus's voice was steady and soft. You don't have to hide anything from me. Scars don't make you broken. They make you brave. Oryx's eyes brightened with warm gold. Encouraged, Marcus leaned forward slightly, not enough to invade Oryx's space, just enough to show openness. You're safe now, he said. No one here wants to hurt you. We only want to understand. Oryx slowly extended one wing, revealing more faded lines. They weren't random. They looked like deliberate strikes, like someone had tried to damage the dragon during that mission. The technicians watching felt a chill. That looks like sabotage. No creature attack would leave marks that straight. Who would do that to Oryx? But Marcus kept his focus on the dragon. Thank you for showing me, he whispered. That must have taken courage. Oryx leaned his head closer. This time he rested the side of his jaw gently on the floor just inches from Marcus, closer than ever before. Marcus gently placed his hand on the ground next to Oryx. He didn't touch the dragon. He simply offered presence. Oryx shifted slightly so that the warm air from its core brushed against Marcus's hand like a soft breeze. A bond was forming. A gentle, trusting bond. And everyone watching knew it. Later that afternoon, Marcus took a small break outside the chamber. He sat on a bench, eating from his lunchbox while looking at the stars through the sanctuary window. He pulled out Lily's drawing and smiled softly. She'd love Oryx, he whispered. The Emperor approached quietly. Marcus stood quickly. Your Majesty. At ease, the Emperor said with a gentle wave of his hand. You have done remarkable work. Marcus shook his head. Oryx did the hard part. He chose to trust. The Emperor studied him for a long moment. Do you know why so many trainers failed? Marcus shrugged. Maybe they pushed too fast. Yes, the Emperor said. And they wanted Oryx to perform, not to heal. Marcus nodded slowly. That made sense, the Emperor continued. Oryx was injured during a diplomatic trip. Not physically, not in a way visible to most. But someone tried to interfere with his core systems. Someone wanted him to malfunction. Marcus's eyes darkened with concern. That explains the marks. The Emperor gave a slow nod. Our technicians confirmed they are not natural damage. But we still do not know who caused it. Marcus looked out at the stars. Fear can hide deep inside a creature. But when it starts to trust someone again, truth comes to the surface. And you believe Oryx will show us more? The Emperor asked. I think Oryx remembers more than he can express, Marcus replied. And if he stays calm, maybe he will reveal what happened. The Emperor placed a hand on Marcus's shoulder. Stay with him, he said softly. You may be the only one who can guide him through this. Marcus bowed his head. I'll do my best, Your Majesty. When Marcus returned to the chamber, Oryx lifted his head instantly. The dragon gave a soft, welcoming hum and tapped his tail lightly against the floor. I'm back, Marcus said with a warm smile. Thank you for waiting. Genre sighed. Oryx moved closer, his steps steady and confident. He sat beside Marcus, not behind a barrier. Not hiding, but openly. As if ready to share more. Marcus gently placed Lily's drawing on the floor. Oryx leaned down, scanning it with curiosity. The childlike dragon doodle made Oryx's eyes glow brighter. Almost amused. Marcus chuckled. She thinks you're amazing. I think she's right. Oryx hummed happily. Something inside the dragon, something long shut down, began to open again. A sense of safety, a sense of trust, a sense of connection strong enough to break fear from the past. And Marcus, sitting quietly beside him, knew this was only the beginning. Because once a frightened heart starts to trust again, truth begins to rise from the shadows. And Oryx's truth had only just started to show. The Imperial Stellar Sanctuary was calm on the outside, but inside the control rooms, tension slowly grew. Technicians studied new data collected from Orcs during Marcus's sessions. Strange readings appeared again and again, signals that didn't belong to the dragon's natural patterns. Something foreign, something hidden, something left inside Orcs during the mission 2 years ago. The Emperor ordered quiet investigation. No announcements, no panic. Only a small group of trusted people knew. But Marcus knew nothing about these new findings. He only knew one thing. Orcs was getting better. When Marcus entered the chamber that morning, Orcs stood waiting by the far wall. Wings relaxed, eyes glowing with warm gold. The dragon made a soft hum the moment Marcus stepped inside, as if greeting a close friend. Marcus smiled and set his lunchbox near his usual sitting place. "You look brighter today," he said in a light tone. "Did you sleep well?" Oryx nodded its head gently, an action it had learned from watching humans. Marcus sat on the floor. Oryx moved closer, lowering itself until it rested beside him comfortably. The dragon did not fear him anymore. Instead, it looked like it enjoyed his presence. "You're making great progress," Marcus continued. "I'm proud of you." Oryx's eyes softened. Then, something unexpected happened. Oryx began projecting faint images in the air. It happened without warning. Thin beams of soft light formed shapes above the dragon's head. The images flickered like weak memories trying to return. Marcus watched quietly. He didn't move, didn't rush, didn't push. He simply gave Oryx space. The first image was of a large room, bright, metallic, filled with strange equipment. Then another image came. A group of unfamiliar figures standing near Oryx. Their faces were blurred, their shapes unclear, but their presence felt cold. Oryx trembled slightly. "It's okay," Marcus whispered. "You're safe now. You don't have to rush. Just show what you can." The images shifted. Now Marcus saw Oryx standing peacefully during the old mission. Everything looked calm for a moment, until one of the blurred figures touched Oryx's wing. Sharp lines of light flashed, the same patterns Marcus saw on Oryx's scars. The dragon flinched in real life, lowering its wings protectively. Marcus's heart tightened. "Someone did hurt you," he said softly. "I am so sorry." Oryx pressed its head gently against the floor, eyes dimming. Marcus leaned closer, not touching, only offering kindness. "You did nothing wrong. None of this was your fault." Slowly, Oryx's eyes brightened again. Technicians in the observation booth captured every second. Their screens lit up with signals and warnings. "Look at that, Oryx is unlocking memory files. This is proof of sabotage. We must alert the Emperor." But before they could finish speaking, something else happened. A sudden alarm flashed on the screen. "Alert. Unauthorized signal detected." The technicians stared in confusion. "What is that? I've never seen this code before." "It's coming from inside Oryx's old memory network." Then the room fell silent. The Emperor entered moments later. "Report." The head technician swallowed. "Your Majesty, there is a foreign connection still inside Oryx's system. Something that was hidden during the old mission. Something that has activated again." The Emperor's eyes tightened. "Show me." The technician expanded the signal reading. A red pulsing symbol appeared on the screen. The Emperor froze. He recognized that symbol. It belonged to a faction that opposed the Empire's peaceful growth. A group that believed powerful creatures like Orcs should not exist because they represented unity. They believed unity made people stronger, and they feared a strong, united empire. Someone from that faction had reached Orcs in the past. And now, that old hidden signal was awakening. "Shut down external connections," the Emperor ordered calmly. "Increase internal security. And keep Marcus safe." The guards nodded and hurried out. The Emperor turned to the screen showing Orcs and Marcus together. "Marcus," he whispered to himself, "you may be the only one who can help us understand what this signal intends to do." Inside the chamber, Marcus had no idea about the new threat. Orcs had calmed down after showing its memories. Marcus was telling another simple story. One that Orcs seemed to enjoy. "It took me 3 tries to fix Lily's toy drone," Marcus said with a laugh. "It kept flying into the wall. Lily said maybe I should stick to fixing breakfast, not machines." Orcs made a cheerful hum, almost like it was laughing. But suddenly, the dragon's body stiffened. Its eyes flickered, shifting between gold and blue. A faint vibration shook through its wings. Marcus straightened. "Orcs? What's wrong?" Orcs lowered its head sharply as if trying to block something out. A strange pulsing sound echoed from its core, soft but urgent. Marcus remained calm. "You're okay. I'm here." The dragon trembled. Then an image flickered above Orcs, this time not a memory, but a strange symbol. It glowed red, pulsing like an alarm. Marcus frowned. "What is that?" Orcs made a distressed noise. It didn't want to show the symbol. It wasn't choosing this. The symbol was forcing its way out, pushing through the dragon's mind like an unwanted echo. Marcus spoke with steady courage. "Orcs, look at me. You are not under anyone's control now. You're here, in the sanctuary. You're safe." Orcs turned its head toward him. Slowly, painfully, the symbol flickered out. Marcus breathed out. "There you go. Stay with me. You're doing great." The dragon leaned close, pressing the side of its head gently near Marcus's knees, seeking reassurance. Marcus placed his hand on the floor near the dragon's cheek. "I won't let anything hurt you again." Orcs's trembling eased. Its eyes returned to warm gold. But the moment of calm did not last. Every light in the chamber flickered. Every screen in the control room flashed the same warning. Alert. Unscheduled system breach. A humming noise spread through the sanctuary walls. Guards sprinted through the hallways. The Emperor stood tall, voice firm. "Protect Orcs and Marcus." Now, Marcus noticed the flickering lights and the low hum vibrating through the floor. "That doesn't sound good," he murmured. Orcs rose to full height, wings folding protectively around Marcus. The dragon sensed danger immediately. Its eyes glowed brighter, scanning the room with sharp awareness. Marcus stood slowly beside Orcs. "Whatever is happening, we'll face it together." Orcs lowered his massive head in agreement. Then the chamber doors locked themselves with a loud metallic snap. Marcus looked at Orcs. "Looks like someone doesn't want us leaving." Orcs let out a low, warning growl, not an angry one, but a guarded, protective one. The dragon moved between Marcus and the door, positioning itself like a shield. In the observation room, technicians scrambled. "The door controls aren't responding. The breach signal is disabling our systems. We can't open the chamber." The Emperor stepped forward. "Marcus is strong. Orcs trusts him. Together they can handle this until we break through." Inside, Marcus took a steady breath. "Orcs, I'm right here. Stay calm. We'll figure this out." Orcs spread its wings slightly, making a protective shelter around Marcus. The dragon scanned the room, sensing something hidden in the air. A signal. A frequency. A whisper from the past. Suddenly, Orcs projected another image, not a memory, a warning. The image showed dark figures entering a room. Then it showed a symbol, the same red one. Then it showed a device small enough to hide inside a panel. Marcus stared. "You're saying something from your last mission might still be active? Something hidden inside this sanctuary?" Orcs nodded firmly. Marcus exhaled slowly. "All right. We'll tell them. We'll help them find it." The dragon lowered its head to his height, eyes glowing with sharp determination. For the first time, Marcus saw not fear in Orcs's eyes, but strength. Strength that had been buried under pain but was rising again. Strength that came from trust. Marcus touched the floor gently beside the dragon's cheek. "We'll face this together." Orcs straightened, wings unfolding with calm power. The chamber lights flickered once more. A new sound echoed through the hallway outside. Footsteps, soft, slow. Not from sanctuary guards. Marcus and Orcs both turned toward the locked door. Something or someone had arrived, and whatever was coming next would change everything. The footsteps grew louder. Every guard in the hallway froze. Every technician held their breath. And even the Emperor's calm expression tightened. Inside Oryx's chamber, Marcus and the dragon stood ready, eyes fixed on the locked door. Oryx's wings were spread protectively around Marcus, his golden eyes glowing with intensity. The dragon sensed danger, and Marcus sensed Oryx's resolve. "Stay calm," Marcus whispered. "We'll get through this." A soft metallic click echoed from the door. Then, with a quiet hiss, the lock released. The doors swung open slowly, revealing a group of figures clad in dark uniforms, their faces hidden by visors. They carried small devices, thin panels that pulsed faint red light. These were no ordinary intruders. Marcus recognized one thing immediately. They were here for Orcs. The intruders stepped forward cautiously, scanning the room. Orcs lowered its head, a low hum vibrating in its throat. It was not an attack, but a warning. Marcus stepped in front of the dragon. "We don't want trouble," Marcus said firmly. "You will leave this place immediately." The intruders paused, their leader stepping forward. "We know you are alone with the creature," the leader said in a flat voice. "Surrender it, and no one gets hurt." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Oryx is not for anyone but the Emperor and the Sanctuary. You cannot take him." Oryx shifted, wings flaring slightly. The dragon's sensors scanned the intruders, detecting fear, hesitation, and hidden intent. It prepared itself, but it did not strike. It waited for Marcus's guidance. "Trust me," Marcus said softly. "We can do this together." He reached toward Oryx's side, gently resting his hand on the dragon's smooth scales. Oryx's hum deepened, a sound of reassurance, of courage. The intruder's devices began to pulse red faster, reacting to Oryx's core systems. Marcus understood immediately. These devices were trying to override the dragon's sensors, to control him. "Not on my watch," Marcus muttered. Oryx responded with sudden agility. His wings extended fully, creating a barrier of golden light and metal around Marcus. He leaned low, ready to move. Marcus stayed calm, speaking softly to Oryx. "You've faced fear before," he said. "We can face this together. You are stronger now." The intruders pressed forward, activating their devices. Red beams shot toward Oryx's sensors. The dragon's body shivered, but he did not falter. Oryx emitted a bright hum, the gold in his eyes intensifying. Then, in a swift motion, Oryx spread his wings and moved forward, not to attack, but to block the beams, redirecting them harmlessly toward the ceiling. Marcus smiled, impressed. "Good. That's it, Oryx. Keep calm. We've got this." The intruders hesitated. They had expected a scared dragon, a creature that would freeze and surrender. Instead, they faced a creature who was awake, alert, and confident, guided by a calm human who showed no fear. The dragon's core emitted a gentle vibration, filling the room with warmth. Oryx's tail swished, pushing one intruder's device aside. Another intruder stepped back, unsure how to proceed. The leader signaled them to advance, but the confidence of Marcus and Oryx caused hesitation. Marcus took a step forward. "Stop this now. There is no need for conflict. You are intruders in a sanctuary that protects peace. Leave." Oryx flared his wings once more, glowing bright gold. The light reflected in the metallic walls, creating an almost blinding shield. The intruders stumbled back, shielding their eyes. Marcus spoke again, firm but calm. "You have no right to hurt him. You have no right to harm anyone here. Leave." At that moment, a faint vibration traveled through the floor. Oryx sensed it, first a hidden device left behind, probably planted during the old mission. It was small but capable of controlling the dragon if activated. Oryx's sensors focused, detecting its exact location. Marcus understood immediately. "Oryx, you can do this. Find it." The dragon's eyes brightened with determination. He lowered his head, wings slightly tucked, and moved forward. His claws tapped softly on the floor as he located the device, glowing faint red under a panel near the wall. With careful precision, Oryx pressed his claw against it. A flash of light appeared, and the device short-circuited, harmlessly sparking and then falling silent. Marcus exhaled slowly. "Good job. That's the last of it." The intruders, seeing their devices destroyed and their control attempt failed, hesitated further. The leader tried one last command, but Oryx's golden eyes glowed brighter. And Marcus stepped closer, calm and confident. "Leave now," Marcus said quietly, "or you face nothing but your failure." The intruders exchanged glances, realizing that neither Marcus nor Oryx were afraid. Slowly, cautiously, they retreated from the chamber, disappearing into the hallways. Oryx's tail swept across the floor once more, signaling relief. Marcus knelt beside the dragon. "We did it," he whispered. Oryx lowered his head near Marcus's shoulder, letting out a soft hum of satisfaction. Later, the Emperor himself entered the chamber. Marcus stood, brushing off his jacket. Oryx remained close, calm and obedient, but alert. The Emperor's eyes scanned the scene, the destroyed devices, and the golden glow of Oryx's sensors. "You have done more than any of my trainers ever could," the Emperor said. His voice was quiet but full of respect. "You have earned Oryx's trust completely." Marcus shook his head. "It wasn't me. It was Oryx. He chose to trust. I only stayed calm and helped him feel safe." The Emperor smiled faintly. "Few humans understand that the greatest strength comes from patience and kindness. You understand it." And Oryx responded. Oryx made a low hum, almost as if he acknowledged the Emperor's words. Marcus placed a hand on Oryx's side, and the dragon leaned slightly into his palm. The Emperor continued, "We will repair the damage fully, upgrade his systems, and make sure no one can ever threaten him again. And Marcus, you will remain as his official handler." Marcus blinked in surprise. "Me?" "Yes," the Emperor said firmly. "Oryx has chosen you, and I trust your judgment." Marcus felt a warmth in his chest. For years, he had only wanted to provide a safe life for his daughter. Now, he realized that by being patient, kind, and calm, he had not only helped Oryx heal, but also found a purpose that matched his own values. I will do my best," Marcus said softly. Oryx tilted his head, eyes glowing warmly, as if approving. Days passed, and Marcus began working closely with Oryx. Together, they trained, healed, and explored the dragon's abilities. The scars on Oryx's wings were repaired, both physically and emotionally. Marcus learned more about the dragon's intelligence, its memory, and its unique abilities to sense emotions and detect danger. Oryx became more than a dragon. He became a companion, a friend, and a symbol of resilience. The story of a broken dragon, once thought to be beyond repair, and a single father who simply stayed calm and patient, spread quietly through the sanctuary. Children visiting the sanctuary were allowed to see Oryx from a safe distance. They saw a powerful creature, yet gentle and patient, standing proudly beside his human friend. Marcus sometimes held Lily's hand as she watched, proud and smiling. One evening, Marcus spoke to Oryx quietly while sitting on the chamber floor. "You know, Oryx, when we first met, I thought you were broken. I never imagined we'd get this far." Oryx let out a soft hum, brushing his head lightly near Marcus's shoulder. "But you were never broken," Marcus continued. "You were just scared. And together, we found trust again." Oryx's golden eyes reflected the soft lights of the chamber. It was a silent promise of loyalty, strength, and friendship. Marcus looked toward the stars visible through the sanctuary's glass ceiling. "We'll protect each other. We'll face whatever comes next. And we'll always stay calm. Always stay brave." Oryx made a gentle vibration. and Marcus knew the dragon understood. For the first time in years, Orcs had fully embraced his strength, guided by trust and companionship. The Emperor, watching from a balcony that night, allowed himself a rare smile. Orcs was no longer just a symbol of power or diplomacy. He was proof that patience, kindness, and understanding could overcome fear, that humans, ordinary, quiet humans like Marcus, could unlock strength in creatures and in themselves that no machine, command, or training could ever teach. And so, in the Imperial Stellar Sanctuary, a dragon once feared as broken, and a veteran single father, became the most extraordinary team the Empire had ever known. Together, they stood ready for the future, strong, trusted, and unafraid. The story of Orcs and Marcus would be told for generations, not because of glory or battle, but because of patience, trust, and the quiet power of kindness. The dragon was reborn, and the single dad had found a purpose beyond anything he had imagined. And together, they looked to the stars, ready for whatever came next.